All right, once again, good afternoon. My name is Abigail Murat, she, her pronouns. I am one of the training and capacity building coordinators for the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I would like to be the first today to welcome you to NYSCADV's 2023 Day of Action Teach-In Series, Part 3, Rally Like You Mean It. Before we start today's presentation, there's a couple of housekeeping items that I would like to go over. If you have any questions or comments, you may put those in the chat box. We will do our best to answer any questions that come in. If you would like your question to be read out anonymously, please feel free to reach out and write to Abigail Murat or Lauren Pierce and clarify that you want your question read out anonymously. We are providing live captioning for today, auto captioning for today. To access your captioning, please click the captioning button and go to more, select subtitles for the closed captioning, and it will appear in your Zoom. Again, we are recording today's session, and you can review the recording on the NYSCADV's Day of Action webpage. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Brittany Galati, Public Policy Coordinator for the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Brittany?
Thanks, Abby. I'd like to welcome everyone today. My name is Brittany Galati. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Public Policy Coordinator with the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I'm very excited to have everyone here today to talk about our Teach-In Series Part 3, Rally Like You Mean It. So what will we be covering today? We've broken up today into 3 different topics. The first is Rally 101. We're going to really dive into the purpose of the rally we're planning for 2023 Day of Action, take a deep dive into the agenda for the day, and also uplift the critical role of tailoring our collective narrative to meet the needs that we're seeing right now. The next part we're going to talk about is, but what do I say? This is really focused on meeting with legislators, harnessing our powerful collective narrative, and making those big asks of our legislators. And finally, understanding that not everyone who wants to be at 2023 Day of Action will be able to join us in Albany. We'll be talking about engagement beyond in person using our 2023 Day of Action toolkit, as well as our 2023 Day of Action webpage. So let's talk Rally 101. What are we hoping to accomplish? We really want to utilize this time as an opportunity to draw attention to the many challenges domestic violence programs are facing and uplift the very real solutions that New York State can take to ensure that all survivors have equitable access to domestic violence services. The rally will kick off on Tuesday, May 2nd at 10:30 in the Well. This year, a little bit different than last year, we'll have tables set up in the Well. So folks are more than welcome to just grab a seat. If you have other folks coming from your region, feel free to sit wherever you'd like, but there will be a table set up. Leading up to the rally, NYSCADV will be distributing purple scarves to legislators, along with information about 2023 Day of Action and ways that they can get involved and engaged with folks. Participants will receive a purple NYSCADV tote bag, as well as a NYSCADV pin. So the purpose of the rally is really to build momentum and capacity. It's an opportunity for us to invite all stakeholders to join in the effort and really uplift what's going on across the state for domestic violence survivors and the programs that serve them. 2023 Day of Action rally will really focus on DV funding. So we'll be talking about VOCA cuts, we'll be talking about contract reform, and we'll be talking about living wages. 2023's Day of Action is a great opportunity for DV programs to uplift how each of these issues impact your program directly and what you're seeing in the community. We'll also be uplifting 4 legislative priorities. You can find out more about those in the Teach-In Series Part 2, Legislation 101, but the 4 bills we're really encouraging folks to uplift are the Fair Access to Victim Compensation, the Single Differential Bill, the Coerced Debt Bill, and Cures Law. We really want to encourage everyone to wear purple, whether it's a purple t-shirt, whether you have a purple scarf, whatever it may be. We really want to turn the Capitol purple on 2023 Day of Action. So what does our agenda look like for the day? We'll start off at 10:30 in the Well with a rally, discussing all of those issues that you see over on the right-hand side. So what's next? So following the rally, after everyone is engaged and ready to go and wants to kind of talk about all of these issues, we're going to march collectively to the $1 million staircase. We really want to, again, raise awareness and draw attention to the very real challenges facing DV programs and the impact this has on DV survivors directly. At the rally, we'll have posters for folks, so we really encourage folks to take those posters with you as you're marching through the halls of the Capitol to really raise that awareness and get folks talking about domestic violence survivors and advocates. As a group, we'll walk to the $1 million staircase. And I just wanted to uplift here too, that if folks have any accessibility concerns, feel free to reach out to myself or uplift it to a NYSCADV staff member on the day of, and we'll figure out a solution. But there are so many options. So why are we marching to the $1 million staircase? We're marching to the staircase for a press conference where we'll hear about the very real challenges facing DV survivors and the programs that serve them. Again, we'll be talking about the consequences of funding cuts, the unintended consequences that we've seen across the board, how complex funding systems and the need for contract reform would significantly impact the burden that programs currently feel, as well as addressing the difficult reality of recruiting and retaining staff. We also want to make sure we're uplifting in all of these conversations the very real solutions of what New York can do to fix these problems, because all of the issues we're talking about are very fixable problems. The press conference will feature legislators and community stakeholders. Currently, we have Assemblymember Hevesy, who is confirmed, and we have invites out to other legislators, as well as some of our programs that will be there in attendance to hear directly from them what's going on. So let's take a minute to talk about, what do I say to legislators in meetings? I know many folks have started to schedule their meetings with their local electeds, whether that's happening in person at the Capitol or if that's happening virtually. So our goal really for the day is to educate legislators around local trends. What are you seeing in your community? What's really reflecting back? What are perhaps gaps that you're seeing or barriers to survivors seeking services? We want to uplift program and or survivor successes. So what went well? Sometimes it really helps to have that positive narrative and that story to share, to say this is what we would like to see happen for all survivors, but that can't happen right now because of X, Y, and Z. And really just having that authentic conversation around what's happening right in your legislator's backyard. And then also uplifting challenges to meeting needs. We know that since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, that there's been an elevated need for domestic violence services and requests from survivors. We also know that that elevated number hasn't gone down. So programs are still seeing a very increased rate of survivors accessing a variety of complex services. So what's going on? This is your opportunity to really talk to your legislator about what you are seeing. Really critical in these meetings to introduce all participants in the meeting. It's really great for legislators to know who's in that space. Share stories. I know sometimes we push statistics and really want to tell legislators this is what's happening, these are how many folks are impacted. If you have a really great story about how an advocate went above and beyond to assist a survivor in meeting their request, or if you have permission from a survivor to share their story, oftentimes stories are the things that really stick with legislators and will be the things that bring up future conversations. Answer questions to the best of your ability. You are not expected to have all the answers. If a question comes up from a legislator or their staff that you're not sure about, that's absolutely okay. Feel free to write down that question and send it to NYSCADV's policy team, and we're more than happy to loop back with the legislator and get them the answer they're looking for. Always, always, always thank them for their time, for meeting with you. And don't forget, if you are having a meeting with a legislator, NYSCADV has meeting feedback forms, which are really critical for us understanding what did you ask your legislator to do, what did they agree to do, and what are things that we can follow up on in the future with them. Don't forget to schedule your meetings. We're about a week out at this point from 2023 Day of Action, so legislators are more than likely willing to make those appointments at this time. Each DV program is encouraged to schedule their own meetings. Schedule as many or as few as you would like. It's your day. Like I said, the rally starts at 10:30. We're going to march to the $1 million staircase. We're going to have the press conference. So we're really encouraging folks to start those meetings after 1 p.m. if at all possible. We understand sometimes legislators have really tight schedules and that may not be possible, but if you can aim for after 1 or 1:30 p.m., that would be a best case scenario. And if you have any questions about scheduling your meetings or concerns, you can't reach your legislator, feel free to reach out to myself, and I'm more than happy to assist with making those meetings. Tips for successful advocacy. It's really critical that during these meetings you stay focused. Legislators, oftentimes these meetings will go for 15 to 30 minutes, so it's really critical that you pack as much information into those meetings as you can, while really staying on focus, that we're talking about the very real funding needs currently for DV programs, as well as all the things that impact programs' abilities to serve survivors to the best of their ability. It's really important that we're answering difficult questions and not just shying away from them. And honestly, one of the most critical pieces of these meetings is making that ask, understanding this is what we're looking for you to do in your role as our legislator, and this is how you really could help survivors and programs. And again, really important, make that thank you at the end, really builds those relationships. So let's talk about things that folks can do who may not be able to join us on 2023 Day of Action in Albany. So NYSCADV has a couple of different resources for folks who want to get engaged beyond in person. So we have a 2023 Day of Action webpage as well as a toolkit. On our webpage, which is live at this moment, folks can find talking points as well as Q&A around our priorities and our legislative priorities for the day. A sample meeting request, so say you want to email your legislator, but you're not really sure how to request that meeting, there is a template email that folks can send to their legislator requesting a meeting for the day. A sample email draft as well as a phone script. So if folks are interested in individually reaching out to your electeds, feel free to do that. The more letters, the more emails, the more phone calls folks get on a certain issue, the more it gets uplifted in that office. So, you know, if you have a couple of friends in your district as well, and you want to reach out to them and say, here's a script, you just need to call your legislator. That's extremely helpful for the cause. And materials for legislators. So typically when we're meeting in person, we do have a folder of, we call them leave behind documents for legislators to kind of review at a later time. We will have all of those materials in person as well. So everyone who has meetings in person can just grab a folder when they're there in person in Albany, but these materials are also going to be linked on our website so that if folks aren't in person but want to share electronic documents, those are available. And we also have a toolkit that contains all of our social media information. So within this toolkit, you'll find sample posts for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as sample graphics. So folks can just copy and paste those into your social media accounts, and you've uplifted the concerns for domestic violence programs across the state. We're also asking folks that if you're with us in person, or if you can't join us, but you want to do this, really document the day. So if you're wearing purple, take a picture, upload the picture, use the hashtag DVFundingNowNewYork New York or Safety for Survivors New York. And all of these things will be tracked with the Day of Action. And if you're meeting with legislators, ask them if it's okay at the end of the meeting to take a picture, and you can post that to your social media, but please make sure you're either tagging NYSCADV or you're using the hashtag that we've provided. There is a link to the social media toolkit on our 2023 Day of Action webpage as well. So all of that information in one place for folks to access. All right, does anyone have any questions? Abby or Lauren, any questions in the chat that I didn't see?
None in the chat.
Excellent. So I'm gonna this forward. NYSCADV's policy team is always here to help. So if folks are interested in or think of questions after this recording is over, feel free to reach out to myself or Joan. We're more than happy to answer any of those questions. If you have day of questions, where are folks meeting? I did neglect to say there's also a map of the Capitol available on the 2023 Day of Action webpage. So if folks haven't been to the Capitol, you're nervous, you're not sure where you're going, the map clearly denotes where both the well, which is where the rally will be, as well as how to find your way there. It can be a little bit confusing. Thanks, Joan. And Joan just put the link to the 2023 page in the chat for folks who are interested. All right. Well, thank you so much. If anyone missed any pieces of this particular training or is interested in watching part 1 or part 2, all of them should be up on our webpage later today, if not tomorrow. And we're really excited to see everyone in person in Albany on May 2nd. Please don't forget to wear purple. Any shade of purple works for us. We just really want to turn the Capitol purple for a day to uplift the very real issues DV survivors and programs are facing at this moment. Stop sharing.